Think of a case where a family office is there which recommends a wealthy client that why don't you spread your assets across countries, and within those countries spread it across asset classes and so on and so forth. Once he has done that, typically what the wealthy guy would, HNI or HNI would want is that, one, the person is able to do the right allocation in terms of those countries. The person is also able to do the right allocation within that country in terms of asset allocation. When he gets deeper into the assets and particularly selecting the assets or the funds for that asset class, he again has to do a good job. Now, simply looking at the returns or XIRR, no matter how much hierarchical level, this would not depict what the decisions have been taken and whether those decisions have made good sense or not. To elaborate upon it, say for example, if I were invested into two economies and I see my yield is 12.5%, fair enough, I'm happy. Maybe at level deeper, I say, okay, US market, whatever I had invested has given me 8%, Indian market has given me 9%, say some other market also 6%. But does that really complete the picture? Maybe I need to see when I got 8% from US, whether that was because of the currency effect, whether that was because of just one asset class, because that was because of the selections within that one asset class, or so on and so forth, so that I can exactly pinpoint as what the strategy has been recommended to me, and whether when following that strategy, the decisions that have been made are right or wrong, so that either the family office, the advisor, or the person himself is capable of taking corrective actions and look at how things can be done better in the future.
Okay. We have been hearing on what all that data that can be fed into the client, and how does it impact in terms of giving client a true picture of what the investment actually, how the investment fare and what is their asset allocation is. What kind of role, and this question is to Milind, what kind of role data can play in terms of investment management for a client? So what all can he look forward to?
I think there's a lot of interesting data which kind of gets, the technology helps you to kind of churn out and look at, as he potentially said, what's the risk of my portfolio, where's my performance really coming off, what is, has my decisions been right, what are my receivables, what's my payables, what are my, in case of family office, there are investments which are across products and asset classes, so just in case, let's say you invested into real estate, data can help you remind your rental yields, it can remind you about your insurance premiums to be paid, maturities, your future cash flows expected. So it's a huge potential. In fact, it really helps an investor to be far more controlled, get far more control of his investments, can get him a full view, get slices and dices of different views in terms of how across his family his investments are posed upon, where he had desired to have a certain asset allocation, whether he's complying with that or not, do a self-check, set alerts. There are a lot of stuff which you can do with your data. So, as we've been implementing our solutions across various guys, and we've seen that being interestingly used, and as time is passing by, we believe the newer ideas keep coming by, and the data can be used potentially for every part of your business. So I think it's a gold mine, and you keep digging in and you keep getting more and more information, which helps you on decision making and keep reminding you of different events. And as we speak, all these things can be really kind of shared across various platforms, whether the excess of the information could be available on a desktop or a tablet or a smartphone. As things have changed, and the information is now available on fingertips, because probably the data is available with folks. Yeah.
Okay. Now coming to Tariq, we have been talking about trust formation and how that is more important in terms of succession planning. Specific to Indian clients, now when you go and talk about trust formation to Indian clients, does it primarily happen only because of succession planning a client is looking forward to, or there are other avenues of planning for a trust that he should look forward, or it's only the succession planning is one thing that he should?
See, when you use the word succession planning, the first thing that comes to your mind is passing on wealth to the next generation, for which there are more mechanisms available, like maybe a will or something. Of course, a will comes with its own limitations. A trust adds more value than just a will. But if you look at it in a realistic view, it's estate and succession planning. When I say estate and succession planning, it means that the wealth that is there with me today needs to be used by me, preserved well, and then passed on to the next generation. You know, we're just jumping succession. We're missing the leg where wealth needs to be used by me today. It needs to be preserved and then passed on to the next generation. So yes, in that case, a trust definitely adds value. A trust is the most important instrument, I can say, that can give you asset protection. I mean, asset protection is one thing that most of our clients are really looking for at this point of time, of how the wealth can be preserved and then passed on to the next generation. A trust could also add value in cases where there is a special child or a special need of a family that needs to be taken care of. A trust can also add value in consolidating all the assets in a way where if you have an NRI beneficiary who's looking at managing wealth from a distance. You know, so it's always what's been used by you today, how it is preserved in terms of asset protection, and then passed on to the next generation as succession plan.
Okay. Now, normally when you talk about a trust formation and all, the general perception is it's a long drawn process. We had a speaker who said he did take 6 months to finally get a client on board. Now, how tedious is the process for a trust formation? Now, does it depend on what a particular client is looking at, or because of it being customized, it takes more time? Or what has been your experience with Indian clients, since they take time to open up and that's why that takes time? So where exactly does the ball lie?
See, definitely setting up a trust is a slightly longer process not because the client is not willing to do. It's not an investment that you may say, you know, that I took a call and it just went bad. So that's okay, you know, I probably booked a loss, I'm exiting out of it. It's not just as that much. It's something that needs to be well planned, well thought. A lot of thinking needs required in that who will take over after me? Who will actually do this? Who will actually do that? Or, you know, how the businesses will get managed, how my wealth will get managed, who in the family should I distribute the assets that I have? How should I distribute? Should it be an equal distribution? Should it be a partial distribution? Should we liquidate and then come on cash? So there's a lot of thinking that is required to actually form a trust. So that's one reason where the delay, yes, does happen. Two is that at the same time, the families may want to consult amongst themselves, getting everybody on one platform and coming to a common consent of how things should happen is also a reason for delay. But at the same time, the client, after meeting them, as per my experience, the clients well educated are moving in a much faster manner. Clients who need more information and all are probably taking time. Not to leave it there, trust formation is not something that can be done in one shot. You know, after a lot of thinking, the trust deed has to be made, which has to incorporate everything that you want. And it's not even that the client has to put in everything in the trust right away. Once the trust is set up, he has a vehicle, he keeps passing on wealth to that instrument or that trust over a period of time. So that's how it becomes a lengthy process.
Okay. When you set up a trust, say a family trust, how important it is to have a corporate trustee as a part of a trust?
See, I wouldn't use the word corporate trustee right away, but I would say it's very important to choose the right trustee. Because by the end of the day, who's driving the trust? Fine, there is a trust deed defined, one is supposed to abide by it. But then it's the trustees who are really driving the trust. In most cases, clients do make common. I mean, all of us would probably think that, you know, having a close relative or a family member or a very good friend would be the most appropriate trustee to choose. Unfortunately, that's not the right choice, because by the end of the day, you need to see a lot more than just the relationship. Does that person have the skill sets to manage? Does he have the ability to manage the wealth that you've left behind? Or does he have the inclination or the time to manage in the most effective manner? Probably yes, in most cases no. At the same time, choosing a trustee, you also need to see that what's the relationship between the trustee and the beneficiary. A trustee could get biased if the beneficiary is a relative or someone, which may defeat the purpose of the trust. So that's importantly where comes in the corporate trustees, where they have the expertise to manage, They're capable of managing your wealth. They have the infrastructure, they have a team, and you're again dealing with a corporate which is well governed and controlled. So that's really an important factor to choose while drafting a trust.
Now moving back to what a reporting structure or a reporting for a client is, my next question is to Sharad. In terms of in a scenario where you have multiple advisors, how easy it can be a process, or is there any solution available where multiple providers or multiple advisors can punch in information in one platform, and a client from that platform gets a consolidated view of holdings so that he can take a measured asset allocation call? Because every advisor will come up with their own asset allocation models.
That's an interesting question because from a client perspective, I need to have a full status of my portfolio, full health check of my assets, how they have been doing, and I need to know at any point in time how the things have been. Unfortunately, the data sharing between the various wealth managers might not be so seamless. However, if there are wealth managers who can provide some kind of client logins through which their web portal can be scraped via Spider or bot, or there are technologies available through which if there is something on the web which is accessible, it can be scraped, it can be put into database and looked at. However, there is still a question of compliance, security, and all those things. Having said that, I'm not sure that there is something readily available as such. But I had a recent discussion with a few fund managers and wealth managers who were talking about, there are some talks happening about how with a single PAN card as a single identification source, one can pull out, the systems are being created via regulatory authorities, so they can pull out all information of investments for a particular individual. If that is made possible, maybe that is something which would be a real good thing, because until and unless I have a new wealth manager who I know is a great guy who comes up to me and says, okay, I can better your portfolio. I do not know where the portfolio is. There are 3 wealth managers already coming to me. I have the best guys in the world coming to me. I don't know how good it is. What will you better? You don't even know my complete portfolio. So at least I can say to that portfolio, okay, this is my PAN card, come here. Do you have something to show? Okay, how good can you do on, what best can you do on that? So availability of data is a key challenge. I don't think there's a ready solution available. Technologies are available to get through anything. People have hacked NASA. People have hacked Government of India sites. So it can be done. You get a fresh IIT guy, launch a hacking contest, and get the data. But again, there are limits of what boundaries to cross and what not to cross.
If I may interrupt, there is a solution, and that's really dependent on how is the family office structured. I think we need to recognize that the family office is really the complete coordinator, acting on behalf of the individual, the ultra HNI or the HNI or the family concerned. And it is the family office which is ensuring that there is an umbrella or a small umbrella of service providers who are there to complement each other. Under the family office, you could be having 3 different wealth managers. Each has been allocated a sum, and all 3 can be compared. Similarly, you could be having a broker or 2 for executing trades. So you've got advisors sitting there, you've got brokers or executors sitting there, and you've also got, I'm sorry I bring myself in, but you've also got a custodian sitting there. Of course, at Milan's technology, we stand fully updated. So the family office appoints a custodian. The custodian is mining the complete data for all these transactions which are routed through this family office. So in effect, we have a tree which has the client sitting on the top, of course. You've got the family office sitting up here. You've got the custodian. Under the custodian, or custodian is on a side, but you've got the wealth manager sitting below, and the data flow is happening from the wealth manager onto the custodian, onto the family office, onto the client. And the data flow happening to the custodian is wholly automated, flowing directly from the bank accounts, flowing from the demat accounts, flowing from the RTAs, which means the mutual funds, stock markets for daily transactions to happen, whether it's bond or equity, could be mutual funds as well, and the valuations emerge. So it can be done.
Okay.
I think the most important thing is structuring.
Structuring them.
And trying to ensure all your vendors are complementing each other and not competing versus.
Atul, the only challenge comes in execution, where I may not be, as a broker, I may not be willing to kind of, I would be comfortable not dealing with a custodian, but through my own depository account. So these are some of the challenges.